Hi, this is Curt Lyman with Alpha Beta Gamma Wealth Management, and these are plain facts about the capital markets. Today is March 12th, 2020, and it was one of the worst days in the history of the U.S. stock market. The last time that we saw a day this bad was when I was a very young financial advisor in 1987, and I can distinctly remember being called to a client's house after the market hours, and this was a fellow who had owned a seat on the stock exchange, and he said to me, "Curt, the big question is whether or not the specialists are going to be able to open their posts tomorrow." Well, they were, and at that point, he injected another $3 million into the stock market, and 12 months later, that 3 had grown to 6.5. So the one thing that I took away from that experience was traditional Warren Buffett advice, which is that when others are fearful, be greedy.
Timing approach 65567 with you.
I think that it may be a little bit early and premature to be greedy here, because I think that we may see some continued volatility over the next few days as investors and traders alike are attempting to really determine what the next steps are going to be in the face of this global pandemic that's beginning to develop. That being said, I think it's important to remember that there are still only approximately 2,000 cases of this in the United States. I know that the current administration is taking a lot of pounding, if you will, for things like having difficulty getting test kits out to the public and that kind of thing. But when you look at the relative containment in the U.S., I think that it's really admirable. What's not admirable, in my opinion, are stories like the one that came out of Palm Beach County yesterday, which is that some guy jumped on a JetBlue flight in New York, and knowing that he'd been tested for the coronavirus, and evidently at some point on the flight got a text, or just before the flight took off, got a text saying that he had tested positive, and he didn't get off. So, we have to use some common sense. And in investing in the capital markets, in my opinion, we have to use some common sense as well. All of that being said, I think that there are some tremendous opportunities that are emerging. The dividend yield on the S&P 500 is almost 3 times that of the 30-year U.S. Treasury at this point, and typically that represents a screaming buy for stocks. So we think it's a little bit early. We're not jumping in here yet, but we have powder dry. We've got lists at our ready, and we will be making investments in the coming few weeks.
How far north are you going to go?
If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks. It's Curt Lyman at Alpha Beta Gamma Wealth Management.